Hey everyone, it's the Hey Poopy Podcast. What that booty do from poop to pleasure to health. Hosted by me, Dave.
And me, Ellen, two curious people removing the stigma from your stinker. And why are we doing this? Because we love laughing and learning about butts and helping them to be the best that they can be. And on this week's episode, we have Troy Hale from the amazing documentary Shit Saves the World.
Yes, Troy was hilarious. He's a filmmaker out of Michigan. He's been doing these films for a long time, but I mean, our two favorites, of course, are Shit Saves the World, which we just watched, and it was fantastic. And the other one, which we're going to be watching soon, Fart, a documentary.
Yeah, I need to see that one. I just have not had time to watch them both recently, but I loved Shit Save the World, and it was so informative, funny, educational. There were some sad parts to it, history, the future of where poop can go, and you gotta watch it, people.
Yeah, it really is a great documentary that anybody can watch. It's not a niche thing, and it really is talking about what's going on now in the world, especially in the environment. So check it out. You can rent it, buy it online. Just go look for Shit Saves the World and you'll find it. And you'll hear cool clips like this.
The great thing about this film is, we're showing a problem. It's a comedy film, but it's an environmental film. And the thing that I've always had with environmental films, it's always doom and gloom. Not always, but it's mostly doom and gloom. And with this one, there's all these amazing human beings and companies that are doing stuff for the positive. So there's an environmental issue here, but there's all these people that are actually right now doing things about it. And just some incredible things like in our poop, there is metals, precious metals, gold and silver and a whole bunch of other stuff that I can't even pronounce those metal names. But if we're able to harvest those back out, it's something like $1.5 million worth of metals in like
Really?
a million Americans poop.
Wow.
So if we can harvest that, we can turn that back we can recycle it.
So as you can see, Troy is well versed in the filmmaking world. And you'll love this film. It's funny.
Yes, it's really great. And you could even make money off of it. How? Why? Oh, I don't know. You should watch it and then figure it out. But do you also want to know more about Dave and Ellen's butts? You can at heypoopypodcast.com, or you can look at our Patreon, our merch, and so much more.
Yes, it's all available there. The wonderful world of poop. So please enjoy this show. And as we always like to say, on to the shit show.
Hey Poopy, how you doing? Hey Poopy, how you doing?
I'm just, trying to find a place with like-minded people to talk about like-minded things about me, about poop and stuff.
Hey Poopy, how you doing? Hey Poopy, how you doing?
Oh man, what's this right here? Is this a podcast about poop?
Hey everybody, welcome back. Welcome back.
This is the Hey Poopy Podcast with
Dave
and Ellen, and this is episode 178, but it'll always be numbered 2 to us, the most magical number of them all. And we have a very, very special guest today. We have Troy Hale from the documentary movies of Shit Saves the World and a fart one that I still need to watch because it's been a hellish couple days for me. But I loved Shit Saves the World, so I can't wait to hear more.
Yes, so Troy, thanks for being on the show.
Hey, no problem. And I love that theme song. I'm going to rip that and have it as my ringtone or something.
Nice. Yeah, please share it.
The great Jordan Pearlson.
Yes. But yeah, thanks for being on the show, and we cannot wait to get into this. But like we always ask our guest, how have you been pooping?
I can't complain. It's more about quality than quantity, right? I'm guessing.
It's better out than in.
Yeah, I was ready for this. I listened to your last episode, so I know what's coming.
Yeah. I love how that first you're like, been there.
Everybody's like, it's been great, right? Well, it's not always great, but I'm surviving.
Do you think it's diet? Is it like more stress, or is it just?
I'm terrible at diet, and then of course my family came up for the week, so we were eating out every night. So,
oh yeah. I hear that.
You know,
That can do it.
I've been leaning
Very-
in. I've been leaning into the whole like, still trying to enjoy the summer, summer foods, snacking all the place. So it's
Yep.
like, it's not been super quality, but just kind of like on the loosey goosey side, if you will. And I think I've only gone to the bathroom once today, which is
Whoa.
not normally my normal MO.
No.
Yeah, which is kind of
Totally
crazy.
not.
Yeah, I'm usually 2 or 3, but once. So I don't know what's going on, but we'll see.
it's better than 0.
This is
Yes.
true, yes. If I don't take a crap at least once a day, that's bad.
Yes.
Something's up. Unless I'm traveling, maybe. That's the only exception, I suppose. But yeah, it's
Airplanes are terrible. Yeah, I hate that.
yeah.
Yeah. Constipation all the way on the plane. I think I pooped on a plane once in my life, and I was in pure shock that I could do that. I was like, I thought the altitude would just keep the poo inside me. Well, like gravity doesn't exist up there or something for it to fall out. I only pooped once today. It was a pretty good Bristol 4. I'm not mad at it. However, I did take a laxative 2 nights ago, and obviously it didn't really work. So I have to stay home all day tomorrow, so I might pop one today to try to figure out if everything can be moving a little bit smoother than I'd like it to be moving. But I was out and about just now doing errands, and I heard somebody cough and fart at the same time. I wanted to laugh hysterically at them. However, they turned around and they knew who I was.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny.
And I wanted to be like, oh, oh. It was just a woman that used to be a server at a restaurant I frequented a lot back in the day. And she was like, I thought I recognized you. And I was like, oh my God, I almost recognized your fart.
Yeah. Like, now you do. I know that sound.
I know the sneeze and the fart, that's a snart. And they did that on Parks and Rec. So I knew about that. I didn't know about the cough and fart. There's got to be a name for it.
Yeah.
A cart
Yeah.
or a farf or forf. I don't know.
Isn't there like burp and fart too at the same time is almost impossible? But like we played a clip of Wendy Williams doing it. Like
It was definitely, I feel like that's like the Loch Ness monster of wind, gas, and stuff like that. I mean, I'm sure it's possible, but it's like, I feel like I've done the burp and fart, but like right after, like one right after the other. It's like, it's never like at the same time.
yeah. Do you deflate when that happens? All
Yeah.
the gas is removing from both sides.
It's like a
Too
balloon.
much.
If you do all of them, is it like the EGOT? The Emmy,
Yeah.
Grammy, Oscar.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
yes, it is.
Sneeze, cough, burp, fart. What else is there? Maybe if for women, throw in a queef or
Queef
something.
in there, throw a queef in there. There's all kinds of stuff. That's hilarious. Yeah, I like the EGOT scenario. Oh my God,
We
that's so
got to
funny.
rename that one.
Yeah.
And you will win an award for
Yes.
doing them all.
If you can't, we'll definitely send you an award. We'll send you something nice. That is remarkable.
So, Troy, tell us a little bit more about yourself besides how you've been pooping.
Me? Oh, wow. I was born. No, I'm just kidding. I was a radio DJ starting off and getting into media, and then I went into television journalism for a while and was highly successful at that. Luckily, I never really loved it, but that's what I did, and I was successful. And then somebody came and said, "Hey, why don't you teach what you know how to do?" And I've been teaching university students film and documentary and journalism for the last 15 years, and I love what I do now. And that gives me a lot of time in the summers to make films. So that's what I've been doing.
That's amazing.
Awesome.
I mean, you seem very busy by looking at your credits here. So, congrats on that. That's very productive.
I always have to have a project, no matter what it is. Over the pandemic, I built a little truck camper thing and toured around the country. You just have to be busy no matter what you're doing.
Yeah, agreed. That's amazing. Well, we both watched your fabulous film, "Shit Saves the World," or I guess SH with the the asterisk T. But it was so funny because I was like looking for it I was typing in. I'm like, why isn't this coming up? I'm like, oh yeah, right. The eye. We actually, this show used to be called Shooting the Shit, and we had the same. Like, so we're like, let's just change this thing.
Yeah. The same thing happened to me when I was searching for it. I was like, this movie I know is here. And then I just searched your name and then it came up. And I was like, oh, look at that.
Well, and definitely if you Google it, our site comes up. And then if you go to the site, then you can click on whatever, Amazon or Apple TV, whatever you got. Yeah, because we saw the same problem. And then I was trying to get a Facebook ad. And I got denied because it's cursing, even with the star.
It's so crazy.
Yeah.
I guess we're all little children that can't handle swear words.
Well, I was kind of like, Facebook, do you know what's on Facebook?
Yeah.
Because this isn't that bad with just this star. It's okay.
I know exactly.
Anyway.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Like insurrections and coups are on Facebook, but God forbid we talk about poop.
Yeah.
Yep.
The word shit. It's somehow going to.
And that's not the worst thing that's on Facebook. So,
Oh, yeah. But the word shit's going to it's the collapse of Western civilization is like, swear words.
Right. Well, even with that, they're allowing that on television if it's late at night now. So even that word is not as bad as what it used to be.
Yeah. It's kind of remarkable. I was a kid, like, you can't say that. It was the famous George Carlin 7 words you can't say. But it's like so stupid. But, I'm still glad that you made this film, though. So thank you for that.
Oh, no problem. No problem. It was definitely fun.
Yeah. I mean, we had the amazing Sean Schaffner on the show, and he introduced us to you. And then we saw him in your documentary, and I was like, oh my God, look at Sean. But it was like, I loved the documentary, but it was like a quick clip of everything that's shit related that's happening right now, what you need to be paying attention to.
Yeah.
And some of the things I kind of knew, like Bill Gates and some other people trying to reinvent the toilet. And then Dave has done the news clipping about the shit on the border with the Mexican border. But seeing those visuals and seeing those people who have been protesting it was, I feel like, even stronger than just reading it in the news. I feel like there could be a documentary all on that alone. It was really great because it's funny, but it's poignant, it's touching, it's educational, it's a little bit of everything. Yeah. And I almost wanted a little more.
Great. I mean, that's kind of why we made it. First of all, I've done a lot of serious stuff. Of course, with the last 2 films that I have out, it looks like I don't do anything serious. But I've done films about, human organ trafficking in Bangladesh and those kind of things. But yeah, and it's very serious. And that's the kind of thing that, people don't really go to Netflix and they're like, yeah, let me be bummed out for half an hour.
Yeah.
So, so this film and the fart film before it, they were kind of experiments on the clickability of films, what people will watch. And those are my first 2 commercial films. Let's see if we can actually get out into the world and see if people will click on it and pay $3.99 or whatever it is. And it was also a film for me to be entertained because I did so much in my news career. I did so many terrible things. Like I saw so many terrible things, like murderers and all that kind of stuff, shootings, whatever. So I just wanted to get out to, let me just do a film that's fun and that's funny and that will make people laugh. And then through my journalism, you just find all this information when you start doing a deep dive into a certain subject and just saying, wow, I didn't know that there was this much about this topic. And that really gave the film depth besides just the humor aspect of it.
Yeah, I really appreciate the fact you could tell you have a journalistic background. Just because some films like that, when you see a title like that, you're like, oh, this is going to be like a joke or something. I'm just goofing around. But I did really enjoy it. And like Ellen, echoing what Ellen said, we did a lot of stories on some of the people that were focused in your actual movie. But what I really appreciate is the Stop the Poop guy, because I think I saw that in a Vice article. But even like the video for that was very like, they kind of made the guy like almost like a comical sort of, you see the guy says Stop the Poop. He seems like a character, but really when you broke it down as far as like what's going on down there in San Diego and the Mexican border, it was remarkable because I feel like you put a human face on it, but it's still funny. But it's also, it's a respectability to it as opposed to just being like, look at this asshole talking about like poop or shit. So that I thought that was great and really smart, and it made the film you can really relate to these people, and also the thing moved along well. You weren't like just stuck in one world for a half hour here. So great. Kudos to you on that.
Well, thank you. Yeah, and it is about. I mean, that guy is really over the top just
Completely.
in his presentation, and I think by design a little bit too to get attention.
Yeah.
Onto that topic. But you're right. It was about. He has some humor to him, but you don't want to make fun of him because he's very serious about that topic, and that topic is a little bit crazy about what's going on down there. But it was this really nice balance of let's make sure it's funny, let's make sure it's informational, but also let's make sure that we're not laughing at this person because it is something serious that he's trying to get attention to.
Yeah, I mean it's affecting their world, so I thought it was a great balanced way the way you handled that, specifically in that part of the film. But yeah, great.
And it's crazy. I feel like, why don't we know more information about, stop the shit? Like, and why, I know it's happening on the Mexican side, but the fact that this country is still letting it happen, like, we got to figure something out. And I mean, like, I brought this up before. 60 Minutes did an amazing piece on the pipes in Mississippi because people don't have either like a septic tank or proper sewage, and it's like there's like millions of people living in this country that doesn't even have proper ways of disposing of their own poop, and it's like that's an epidemic in itself. And your documentary shows the history of people being sick because of it in countries like, I mean, like finding out why it's called the loo in the UK was so funny, but also disgusting.
Yeah. Completely.
Right.
And
right.
it's
You
like,
gotta-
we came
you
up
gotta
with
watch out
these
for
sewers
flying
for a
shit,
reason.
yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I also feel like in the news in this country, as far as like the news cycle, like that stuff is not even sexy enough. It's like has to be some kind of weird, you know what I mean? Like as far as like when you watch I guess mainstream media, it's just stuff like that. They're like the fact that people in Mississippi don't have drinkable water. That should be like front page every day, but of course it's not. And the same thing in Michigan, not Michigan, Flint, Michigan. Is it Flint, Michigan? No. Yeah. Same thing there. It's just like, that's just crazy to me that we're supposed to be this first world superpower and we can't even figure out how to get the water to work.
Well, when you were talking about that stop the poop, and the sewage overflows, I don't have the exact number here, but just in the U.S. when I looked it up, we have 100,000 sewage overflows a year. And running, if there's too much sewage, we have to get rid of it somehow. So they just open up the pipe, and I had an overflow here. I was biking down the river on a bike trail, and there's a sewage overflow right there in my city.
Jesus.
So it is amazing about how much there is, and then with toilets and access to toilets, it's like 40%. Excuse me. Wait, I got the figure right here. What am I looking for here? It's just amazing. I mean, 60% of human beings on the planet don't have access to a toilet. That's 4.5 billion human beings that can't safely get rid of their waste. And that's in the year 2022. It's just incredible that that's still a thing.
Yeah. No, it's shocking.
Yeah.
We're supposed to have like jetpacks, as they said. I'm like, we're supposed to be traveling like different distant planets by now, but flying cars. But we can't figure out the toilet situation.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so doing this documentary, is there anything that you learned that help you combat things or bring to our audience of what we can do to help these situations?
Yeah, the great thing about this film is, we're showing a problem. It's a comedy film, but it's an environmental film. And the thing that I've always had with environmental films, it's always doom and gloom. Not always, but it's mostly doom and gloom. And with this one, there's all these amazing human beings and companies that are doing stuff for the positive. So there's an environmental issue here, but there's all these people that are actually right now doing things about it. And just some incredible things like in our poop, there is metals, precious metals, gold and silver and a whole bunch of other stuff that I can't even pronounce those metal names. But if we're able to harvest those back out, it's something like $1.5 million worth of metals in like
Really?
a million Americans poop. So if we
Wow.
can harvest that, we can turn that back into, we can recycle it. There's stuff
Yeah.
in there that we can recycle, and we could turn it into electricity. We can, there's just is so, we're already using it for fertilizer. People are trying to get water back out of it. And for space travel and things like that, we're going to need to recycle water. They already recycle urine on the space station. So, if we're going to travel to other planets, we produce all of this stuff. And if we can reuse it for something, that's going to be amazing.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm sure this is obviously have to do with your journalistic background, but what was the impetus for Fart and for Shit Saves the World? Like, what was I was curious, like, how you just landed on that. I mean, farts are very funny, as we always say, but was it just something you read, something you just heard about? I mean,
I get this question all the time. The Farted documentary, the idea for that came out. I was just hanging out with a bunch of friends and we started chatting about something, and then it just became a joke, and it was like an hour-long joke. And because of that, I said, oh, this might be an interesting thing. And then I started looking things up, and I had a 96 page Word document at the end of that.
oh my
There's
God.
just so much stuff out there. And that was the same kind of process with Shit Saves the World. I teach in the documentary program here at Michigan State University, and my colleague, Dr. Jerry Zeldas, and I sat down. We were just pitching ideas back and forth, and we came up with this Poop to Power, which is biodigesters. And we have a biodigester here on campus.
Oh, awesome.
So I said, well, that's great. Yeah, I said, well, that's great. We can just go, 2 streets down. It's a cheap shoot. Let's go and see what's going on with that. And we interviewed Dr. Dana Kirk. And he had a great sense of humor about what he did. We had a really fun interview. He showed us around the biodigester. And that was the first step to actually starting the film. And once we found out that these PhDs that do this amazing work, making electricity out of shit, had a really great sense of humor, we knew we were onto something there. And that just kept going for a couple of years. And then we had the film.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah, I feel like that's something we've learned with doing this podcast. At first, we started with it just being like shit your pants stories, but then it's like kind of snowballed into other poop stuff, from educational to what health issues with the butt and everything else. And so it seems like if you don't have humor to start the conversation, you can't learn about the other stuff, because nobody wants, and which you even point out in your film, the minute you flush your poop, you want to pretend like nothing has happened. You almost want to ignore it. And it's like, we need to kind of delve into, like, where does it go? How does it go? When it goes to someplace, is it going to be good for the environment? Or can we do other things with it? Yes, you're saying recycle it to get metals out of it, to make water, energy, everything. And I think that that's such an important conversation towards what's going to happen sustainably for the future. So but you have to start it with being funny. Like, we interviewed Mr. Toilet from the World Toilet Organization, and he's hilarious, but he realizes that's the only way that, like, people are going to pay attention to the problem about toilets. So yeah, you have to be funny to get through to them about poop.
Yeah, and humor is the entry into this. And I talk to my students about this a little bit too. It's kind of the Daily Show kind of thing.
Yeah.
They talk about all these serious topics, but humor is the way that they bring people in. And it's the same thing with this. And this is a topic that you could be very funny with anyway. And once you bring up the topic, everybody wants to joke around. And that's it's from when we were kids. We would make poop jokes all day, and it's still funny to us. I think fart and poop jokes are always going to be funny to us, but that gets you into the topic, and then you go, oh, I mean, can you think of something more renewable than shit? I mean, that could be the most renewable energy source that we have. We're never going to run out of it. So I think that's something to look at.
Oh yeah. It's definitely something to look into. And the fact that I think when people find out about these techniques, these things that people are doing right now with shit, it's kind of incredible. I mean, we have a podcast about it, obviously, so we're interested in it. But I mean, having not have a podcast, I mean, just the fact that you'd be like, wow, people are making like energy out of this stuff, making clean water. I mean, it's kind of remarkable. So in that sense, it piques your interest. So, but it's just, yeah, you need the comedy or the humor to get you like through that first door, and then it's, oh my god, like I had no idea we can do all this stuff. It's pretty remarkable.
Yeah.
Well, and where we are in society right now, we couldn't be where we are without water treatment plants. That was one of the, one of the people that I talked to is like, this is one of the wonders of the world. This is why we're able to build up cities the way we have. And this is why we can have this population boom that we have, is that we're not walking down the street and everybody's shit. And that's what used to happen in the old West. And that's why people got sick back then and died. So our lives are we're living longer lives because we figured out how to get the shit away from us where we live.
Yeah, it's a miracle.
It's crazy because you think of poop and you just think of it being gross, which it is, and it can make people sick. But then you're also like, you gotta use the humor to open the door, but then you have to like wink, wink and be like, but wait, money and energy and water and growing food with it, and it's like all of a sudden the light bulb goes off, and it's like, oh wait, it can be gross, but if it's treated properly we can get a lot out of it.
Whoever whenever the time comes where it cracks the code with like your shit and urine just turning into revenue for cities and for counties, whatever, that's when it's going to be like this boom. Like it's going to be some weird thing. It's like, people were into like solar panels and wind farms, but now I got my own shit harvesting farm. Like that will be a thing because it's like we're running out of like, like you said too, the amount of people that are going to be on this planet in 100 years is going to be ridiculous, and it's just going to be like shit everywhere. Like so, you might as well harvest it and use it.
Yeah. I feel like it's like cannabis. Like cannabis was illegal, and then all of a sudden it became legal, and the states that were taxing it and making money, it was like light bulb went off. Whoa! And so you just got to treat poop the same way,
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm looking at my notes, and I actually got it wrong. It was $13 million in 1 million human beings.
Wow.
So,
okay.
So throwing those numbers out, I can see business people going, wait a second.
Completely.
Once you say money, I think they're into it. And then we had in the film, it's the water treatment plant in London. I can't remember the exact name of, I can't remember the name right now, but they're making bricks. They're making housing bricks out of it, so then you can build renewable housing. Yeah,
it's incredible. We talked about the place in Amsterdam and in some of the those countries, Norwegian countries out there, where basically they're taking like their digesters have gotten to the point where their poop is so almost like they pretty much use every aspect of it, where they're using it for like fertilizers, or using it for like that goes into the asphalt. It's like kind of incredible, and like they were asking for more shit from other places to like to use this stuff for. So that's, to me, that's remarkable. And the fact that this country, it's not even on a radar here. It's like, what? I think it was phosphorus that was like part of for crops. And that's going to be a problem in the coming years, especially with population booms. So we should be doing that right now. And I'm a graphic designer. Like part of me doesn't even, it's like that world does not even necessarily like excite me when I hear stuff like that. So that's incredible to me. It's just about as incredible as like sending someone to the moon. Like you took something disgusting like shit, and now I'm using it to like as energy, as like food. It's remarkable. So
well, it's like that movie with Matt Damon, The Martian, and how he survived off of like the poop of the other astronauts, and like that movie was considered a comedy. Yes, there were funny parts to it, but it was like, if you're going to survive, you have to be ingenious and intuitive about what's going on just inside of us. So
I was listening to something else, and they were talking about that movie, and they go, the science behind that is correct. That is possible for us to be able to do that. And even with that, with space travel is a whole different thing, because Elon Musk wants to stick 100 people on a starship and send them to Mars. That's a lot of shit. I mean, it takes us months to get to Mars. What are we going to do with all that shit? And back in the Apollo days, we left 96 bags of shit on the moon. So there's human shit all over the moon, and that's teeming with bacteria. So there is life on another place in this universe. We put it there. It's it's crazy.
I was joking with my wife that like that little stat about the shit in the moon, how like at one point like watch there'll be some like, new alien life form that just like comes to Earth and like destroys it, and it's like there's some weird shit moon monster. See, there's your next movie.
Yeah.
Bam, done. You can
Yeah.
sci-fi.
There you
You
go.
got shit.
Perfect.
Horror movie.
Perfect.
Let's pitch that. Let's pitch it.
Yeah.
There's actually scientists that want to go back there and study that, because that human waste has been on the moon for years and years and years. They want to see what it's done up there. So I mean, there's scientists that are like, we need to go back and get that shit.
Oh my god, that'd be
Yeah.
so great. There's like some just weird new life form just chilling up on the moon. Like, hey guys.
Yeah, I've told people about that and they're like, no, that's not true. And I was like, yes, it's true. There's human poop on the moon. It's like that song Whitey on the Moon. But the only verse he forgot is, and Whitey left poop on the moon.
Yep. Yeah, and I just recently I interviewed was it Boone Davidson. He won the poop challenge, the Lunar poop challenge that NASA put out.
Oh.
And he it was for a toilet to go on the lunar lander that's going to land next in 3-5 years, whenever it's supposed to land. So he won that, and he was talking about he had to interview. He knew one of the astronauts, so he was chatting with the astronauts about pooping in space, and it was amazing the difference about pooping. There's no gravity.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it doesn't come out the same way. And the astronaut was saying, yeah, I mean, we use suction, but sometimes the suction isn't great enough. So, after we go, something kind of comes back, floats back, and hits you in the butt, and that's kind of a little weird when that happens.
Oh,
I mean, you showed that in your documentary that somebody's poop was like floating around in space while they.
Yep.
was it the Apollo mission, right, or something?
Yeah.
The transcript that was hilarious, by the way.
Yeah, Apollo 10. Yeah, right before we landed, and the people like Neil Armstrong up there was no toilet on board those spacecrafts. There was bags. They used Ziploc type bags to
God.
I know.
poop in. They were up there for what, a week?
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh my
And
god.
you even showed, what was it? It was like $13 million toilet for a space toilet. Like, they're not cheap, but I would die to poop in one of those just once. I want to try that. Like, you don't have to send me to space. Just put me in like a zero gravity chamber with that toilet. I'm dying to know that experience.
It would be fascinating sensation, I'm sure.
Yeah. Who cares about sitting on a gold toilet? I want to sit on a $13 million space toilet that sucks poop out of me. I mean, that just sounds hilarious.
And it's stuff that we don't think about. Like, we watch Star Trek and Star Wars, and you're like, nobody ever goes to the bathroom in Star Wars.
Yeah.
Where did they go?
The Mandalorian is the only movie that showed a space toilet, like for a short clip. And I remember like a couple May the 5th ago on Instagram, I posted it. I was like, this is what a Star Wars toilet looks like. Nobody talks about this. This is an important subject matter. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's so crazy.
And somehow all those people that are walking around spacecrafts, they have gravity. So
Yeah,
it's like, I don't
exactly.
know if that's exactly going to work like that.
They take some kind of future pill where it doesn't make you shit. They're just taking
There
out
you
shit in
go.
your body. So
Well, I heard that there's like a theory on that with Harry Potter, that all the wizards have like a spell that they, as soon as they poop, they can poop anywhere and they just make the poop disappear.
you're a wizard, I guess
There's a movie like that where it was Jack Black
Yeah,
and somebody.
vaporize.
And they vaporize. That's right. And it just goes
Vaporize.
somewhere else.
And they kept
Where-
going, where's the poop
where
go?
does it go?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Not here.
Yeah, it sounds like a hilarious movie, and I watched the trailer, but I think on like Rotten Tomatoes it gets like a 3.
It's a horrible movie. But that part was pretty funny.
Yeah.
I got to rewatch that now. I haven't watched that in a while. I'm gonna put that on my list.
Yeah.
Envy.
Sounds like
That's
a
what it's
great
called.
idea that just
Envy,
did
thank you.
not work out.
Yeah, Envy.
Envy.
Because I remember thinking, I'm like, ooh, Ben Stiller and Jack Black, this is gonna be hilarious. And I'm like, watching, I'm like, not that hilarious.
I bet the script was amazing and then somebody had to dumb it down. I
Probably.
mean, even calling it Envy, they should have called it Vaporized, like it would just have been funnier.
Yeah, it's just
Too bad.
yeah,
It was-
it's
I bet it was one of those standards and practices thing. Oh no, we can't call it. We can't have poo in the title.
Yep.
yeah. But I haven't seen that movie in so long. But yeah, you should check it out. It's pretty funny. I mean, the parts about the poop. Otherwise, the rest of the story kind of falls apart.
Troy, do you have anything else that you would like to bring us, or can we ask you some of our regular questions?
Oh, go for it. I'm just going through my cheat sheet.
Nice.
Go for it.
What is your favorite brand of toilet paper, and do you put it on the roll over or under?
Well, okay, so the over and under thing, I think that's got to be solved at this point because they have a patent for this. It's always over. Yeah, so there is a patent for that, and so if anybody does it under, you're wrong.
See, everybody brings up the whole patent thing, but I like to say it too. It's like, there's been patents for like things that we've improved upon. Like when the automobile, like you would never drive around in the first car ever built, a crank car with no brakes. You would die. So I'm just saying that, like, under is the improvement.
And we also discovered I am an over person. I do prefer it that way. However, the toilet paper manufacturers want you to put it over because you use more.
Okay, sure.
So the patent could be just there. I mean, it's not switching I know how to only pull out so many. I don't have to go crazy with it. But I'm just saying, to each their own, as long as there is toilet paper
as long as
there
there's toilet paper on the roll, I think that's the most important thing.
Yes.
We can get nitpicky.
There's no toilet paper, we got problems.
Yeah. Something to wipe your ass with. That's what you need.
I think if we want to improve on this, I think we can improve on the fact that we don't do it in clean water anymore and we don't waste paper. I think that would be a whole better solution.
Oh,
to the
yeah, completely.
But I'm also talking about uprooting part of humanity. So yeah, okay, sure.
Yeah, but the whole clean water toilet is only maybe 150 years old, 200 years old. It's not that old. We can improve that too. So.
And that was an improvement on just a cesspool, which is basically shitting in a hole.
Yeah.
So
yes.
we've moved up. I think when we go to Mars and we go to the moon, I'm sure they're not going to put a whole bunch of pipes in and run clean water in there. They'll probably improve on the system at that point. So hopefully, what we got? 50 years, maybe they'll do that on Mars.
Yeah, I won't be here, but okay. Or maybe I'll still be here, but I'll be barely like, oh my god, I waited this long for.
You're 100 years old.
Yeah, then I just die.
Finally.
Yeah, then I'm like, oh.
The toilet is better.
Yeah. Now I could die. So I probably wouldn't have been using a toilet by then. I'd probably barely be able to go to the bathroom.
Ooh, diaper city.
Yeah.
And Troy, do you sit or stand to wipe?
I don't know. I don't know what I would do if I would stand. I don't know. I think I might have stood a couple of times, like when I went to China and they had the squatting toilets and stuff like that. But yeah, I can't even picture how to stand and do that.
Yes. And Troy, do you have a first memory of farts and poops as a child?
Well, farts for sure. I mean, I think one of the reasons I made fart a documentary was because it was so funny in our family, and it was like, who did that? Oh, it was the dog. Oh, it was dad. Oh, it was I mean, even my parents were here this week and somebody farted and I was like, my dad was right there, and it was always my dad, right?
Yeah.
And nowadays it could be me or my dad, but I knew it wasn't me, so I looked over and go, was that the cat or you, Dad? And Mom was like, it was me. I was like, are you kidding? That one? Good for you. So the fart thing was always a funny thing in our family, and I think that led me to that film. The poopy thing, I don't know. I can't think of a first memory of that. Yeah, I can't think of something.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of your mom for like admitting that she was the farter. Most ladies, not me. I am a lady who totally loves to claim my fame, but a lot of ladies would be like, "Oh no, it's the cat." So God bless your mom for being so forward with her farts.
She's a pioneer.
Course, yeah. My parents were executive producers on both the films, so they invested in it. So I think now they kind of appreciate that a little bit more. They're like, every time they say fart or something, like, I'm like, you owe me royalties. You said fart.
Yeah.
So I think they have a lot. They have a lot more humor than the normal people do on both these subjects.
Yeah, they're embracing it. And
Absolutely, yeah.
Troy, if you have constipation or diarrhea, what are your cures?
Well, the constipation is always after flying. So I don't know. I just wait that one out, I guess. I don't really have a besides, taking some laxatives or whatever. I don't I don't have I just wait it out. I guess I just go I'm generally a very healthy person, so I don't really take a lot of things. Mainly because I know that I'm going to need all that stuff when I get older.
Yeah.
So I don't want to use up my,
Hmm.
I don't take aspirins that much until I really need them. Yeah, I just wait everything out. I don't know. Is there a better answer to that? I
No.
could probably use some information if you have any tips.
I mean, I love just asking the question because we have gotten tips from others. Like, some people who with the diarrhea, it's like hydrate and the brat diet, bananas, rice, apples, and toast. But then there's other people who are like, for constipation, I take Swiss Chris. Like we learned about Swiss Chris on this show. So it's always, I love asking that question because I'm just like, ooh, what do you do?
Yeah.
Because I need some tips.
I think there was like fresh fruit, like papaya, that works. But it's like weird. 'Cause I rarely get diarrhea, constipated. So it's kind of, you're like, oh yeah, I forgot. There's options out there. There's ways to fix this.
I've heard like hot drinks help for constipation. That's what I've heard. I'm not really a coffee drinker, so I guess with people that drink coffee in the morning, they don't have that problem.
Yeah.
That seems to be the number one. Coffee, cigarettes, makes you go.
Also, Troy, what products do you use to help you with pooping? Do you have a stool, a bidet, wipes, sprays, supplements, anything else?
I don't really actually. I've heard the whole stool thing, so I haven't tried that yet. I'm trying to think if I have anything. I don't think I really do. I'm very basic when it comes to those kind of things, I guess. But I've definitely read about them because of making the film. And I've got a couple of, now that I'm on Instagram and stuff with the film, I've got a couple people that I follow that have, here's how to wipe if you're having trouble with physical type things, that it's not as easy for you to wipe as most people. So it's interesting to see what other people have.
Yeah, we've had people on the show that have like very short arms or they're little people, and just even learning how they wipe is interesting. Like you're like, whoa, I never even thought about that. Like, especially they were born this way, so they had to learn from
Yeah.
parents that were tall, average size people, so they didn't even know. They're like, oh God, I don't even know what to do. So yeah, it's interesting to learn the different ways everybody does stuff. So
And I think that's this whole topic is like that. It's not something that we just talk about regularly. And then when we get into talking about it, there's all these, wow, I didn't know that kind of things. And I think that's why people like the film too. And I bet that's why people like the podcast is it's like, oh, wow, you're talking about this. And this is something we don't talk about. And now I have all this knowledge.
yeah,
Completely.
but I don't know, Troy, if you have the same problem. We've had a lot of people come to us and be like, I was kind of like grossed out by your podcast. And then I listened to it and really realized, oh, wait, it's educational. Oh, it's funny. Oh, it's all these other things. And it's like, yeah. And poop is the most normal and natural thing that a human does besides drinking water, breathing air, sleeping. Like it's part of life. So it's funny to get over that hurdle with people.
Yeah, it's a hard hump to get over. Because I think people this hear shit and they're like, oh no. Like it's instantly like just repulsed by it. So, but yeah, once you get in, you're like, oh, okay, never mind. I thought it was something totally different. Well, yeah, we're not just sitting there talking about like literal shit the whole time. But yeah.
I've been really surprised actually by the response of this one. The Florida documentary, it did okay. It was like either people loved it or hated it. It's the normal internet thing, right? It's either 5 stars. I watched this with my family and grandparents and we all cracked up, or like 0 stars where it's like, this is the dumbest thing ever. And and I was expecting that as this film came out too, exactly the same thing. And we've had a lot of positive feedback, and a lot of that, it's also from the environmental community, and
Yeah.
it's from the sanitation community, and it's from just all that kind of stuff. And I had to go back and rewatch the film because we did the final edit of it a year ago, and we've been going through distribution, which is just a lot of business stuff. It's not the fun part of making films. But I've been so busy on that before I started doing podcasts and radio shows and TV shows and newspapers, I was like, okay, let me watch the film again so I get it back in my head. And I started watching it, and I was like, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn here because I'm always like, I can make a better film. But I was watching it just going, wow, this is actually pretty decent. I'm enjoying my own film that I've watched 100 times. Which normally I don't. I'm like, oh, this is terrible. I should change that. Okay, I can't anymore. But even with that, I'm like, oh yeah, there are all these elements, and I can see why these environmental people are reaching out to me now about clean water and that kind of stuff, where I thought I just made a dorky film with some information in it, but this is really, it has some substance to it. So I think that's, it's a positive, yeah, you made this film and it's called Shit Saves the World, but it's an environmental film. It's funny, but it's really got a lot of good stuff in it.
Oh yeah, especially now what's going on in the world. It's like really important. So I think this fact that it's like the fact that when it's coming out right at this particular time in history is remarkable because, if that was like 10, 15 years ago, it might have fallen under the radar. But the fact that like you're getting such positive reviews and requests, I think that is a testament to what's going on in this world right now, what we need to do to hopefully right the ship.
Completely.
And I think farting and poop, I think those are the two funny things, no matter what culture you are, no matter where you are in the world, farts are funny and pooping is funny. And that's why we've signed deals with Japan and Hong Kong and France and the UK and Ireland and Taiwan on this film. And, we're going to have a Japanese premiere coming up in a month or so. So it's just, they're translating it into Japanese.
It's amazing.
That's amazing.
But it's that common thing. Like we all do it and it's all funny, and it doesn't matter where you grew up or what language you speak.
Completely.
I feel like it's going to be a smash in Japan. I feel like they really embraced that whole poop world.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they sent me a copy of the film poster for Japan, and my agent sends it to me, and he's almost apologetic because it's so different than the film poster we have now. But it's like complete like poop emojis and all kinds of stuff. And he's like apologetically sending it to me. And my producer calls me at the exact same moment. She's like, did you see the Japanese poster? It's awesome.
Oh, I want to see it. You have to email us.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't wait to share it. I'm going to share it on social media. I'm not allowed to share it yet because of the distribution date. But as the distribution gets closer, like I can't wait to show it. I sent it to my agent. I'm like, can I put this on social media now? He's like, no, you got to hold off. I'm like, oh man.
Well, I can't wait to see it too. So
yeah.
Countdown.
And last, before we go into our favorite game, I'd love to ask you our very, very favorite question of the hour. You have Bristol 7 butt pee-pee leaving the body, and there's absolutely no toilet in sight. Do you go in your pants or somewhere on the floor? Floor versus pants.
You just can't go in your pants. There, you always have time to do something. So I
think it's very circumstantial, but yes, pants are not optimal.
I paid for my pants. I didn't pay for the floor, so hey.
Fair enough.
But depending on which floor, do you clean it up? Like, there's so many factors to weigh in.
I guess so. I mean, if it's mine, I got to clean it up. But I got my cat Dusty that makes an appearance in the film, and he poops on the floor all the time. Although he's gotten better. He's gotten better since the film, so I'm really
good
about that.
You've publicly shamed him, and now
old.
he's
Yeah.
getting it.
He's like, all right, I'll
what
work
it
on
is.
this. I'll work on this. Oh my God, that's so funny.
All of his friends have texted him and called him, so exactly.
Funny. Well, we're going to go into a little game we like to call Shitty Choices. So, today's Shitty Choices is brought to you by, Shitty Choices.
It's brought to you by the movie Shit Saves
Yeah,
the
exactly.
World. Absolutely. I've just turned into a sponsor now.
Yeah. Wham, just like that. Snap a finger. Okay, so you could be a virgin forever, or you can only have sex covered in shit. So every time you have sex, you're covered in shit. They're
Yeah,
hor-
I gotta stick with my answer because I'm male. I bet if you ask females that, it's a whole different answer.
Yeah.
Ellen, were you?
I might be staying a virgin because having poo-poo in your vagina is no fun. No fun. No
no
bueno.
fun.
Not like I've done it. Not like I'm like, hey, please
well,
shit
like
in my
you're like
vagina.
you're like actually.
But that's the only thing I can think of is like,
Yeah. No, it's horrible. I'm gonna be a virgin forever. So I just like the thought of, I'm like, you know what? At that point, if my only option was to have sex but covered in shit, I'm like, sex can't be that great. So I'm gonna go with virgin forever. So.
But we had John Mark Owen.
Yes.
We've had dominatrixes on this show that poop on guys. So there are people out there that would say just the opposite.
I mean, I thought of John Mark Owen. I'm like, he's gonna definitely pick covered in shit. So, but for me personally, I'm going with virgin. I think we all kind of in agreement there on that one. Across the board, we're all gonna be virgins.
Wait, I thought.
I don't know.
You didn't know? I'm sorry.
No. I think Troy said that he would still have sex.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I heard that
you're
wrong.
But you're also pushing against, the greatest thing in humanity. I mean, that's our basic drive. So I think it would be really hard to get rid of the basic drive of humans.
I agree, but the shit is just the repellent sense of.
I mean, can you still masturbate clean with no poo-poos on you?
Oof, I don't know. I'm just like, these are the choices that have been
I'm
submitted.
saying you could at least still get the poison
You
out
probably
without
could
shit
still
on
get the
you,
point.
right?
I'm considering anything in that form as sex. So
so even masturbation.
yeah, it's like bam, you're like, I want to masturbate. Bam, covered in shit. Just magically, you're covered in shit. So all right, sorry, that's 2 for virgin and 1 for shit. Okay,
Lordy,
nice.
this is a shitty choice.
It is a shitty choice. So we're gonna go
That's
into
the game.
Yes. We're gonna go into a little news. This came out in early September of this year by Lisa Fickenshire. I hope I'm pronouncing that name correctly. This was in the business exclusive section. FDA ends Lucky Charms probe despite continued reports of bizarre symptoms. So,
What?
yeah, the feds had been looking into a closed an investigation onto illnesses caused by Lucky Charms. Customers were reporting weird symptoms eating the sugary breakfast, including, and not limited to, but poop that turned bright neon green.
Oh my goodness.
So the Food FDA basically said in the statement that they ended a probe that began in April of General Mills, and they're finding no pathogen causing any kind of these self-reported illnesses. But one guy had said from Teaneck, New Jersey, they're always from New Jersey, my poop became increasingly green and watery until it reached a bright neon green,
Oh my goodness.
claiming the bizarre symptoms persisted for 3 days after eating a single bowl of Lucky Charms.
Oh my goodness.
People were also complaining of severe stomach pains to the point where they were becoming pale. And they thought it was like almost appendicitis. That's how bad the pain was. From moving from the middle abdomen to the right abdomen. And someone had to actually go to the emergency department, or emergency room. Emergency department. The emergency department, please. But yeah, so I just thought that was an interesting thing because we had a friend Autumn on, and she talked about when she used to eat Smurf candies or like.
No, it was the Smurf ice cream.
Smurf ice cream, sorry, thank you. And it turned her poop blue. But this.
And we did the blue poop challenge.
Yeah, I mean, they're saying that the concentration, yes, we did. The concentration of chemical contaminant is usually low, and even if it's like pulling a needle out of a haystack. So basically the FDA is like, we can't find anything that's going to warrant us taking this off the shelf. So if anybody out there has issues with Lucky Charms, please call us because we'd love to know about it. I mean, I feel bad for you, but I want to know about that green neon poop. It sounds awful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Please
I know,
tell me that the guy took photos.
I mean, if he did, they didn't put it on this article.
I mean, can you Google Lucky Charms shit and maybe there's.
I mean, let's see. Hold on. I mean, if he did, that'd be amazing.
He can send it to the Poop Museum. There's 2 of those.
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
Let's see. Lucky Charms.
Oh my God. I'm reading on Forbes. There's 7,300 Lucky Charms serial illness complaints.
Jesus.
That's a lot of complaints.
That's a lot of complaints. But they're like,
Yep.
we're still making that stuff selling.
And I found the green poop when I Googled Lucky Charms poop. It did come up.
Nice.
Ah,
Yeah, seeing
I
it
knew
now.
it would. Oh, there you go.
There's a whole Reddit. Of course, there's a Reddit, but it's like, why do new Lucky Charms make poop green?
I would like to know
so
what they
great.
switched. But also, I kind of feel like, isn't that just evolution saying stop eating that crap? Like,
Yeah.
do you really need Lucky Charms in your diet?
You do
It's
not.
not food.
This article, this Reddit was from 4 years ago, and some person, I mean, they got really detailed. They're like, one type of blue food coloring is a azo dye that changes color from blue to green as it gets reduced in your digestive system. So who knows? But whatever they did, they changed the formula, and people are now shitting neon green.
Troy, have you done the blue poop challenge?
No, I just wrote it down so I look it up after I get off here with you guys.
Yeah, when we did it, it's to track how long it takes you to digest something. And Dave, I think, digested it, in 16 hours?
Roughly, somewhere around there.
From mouth to butt, it was 16 hours. For me, it was 42 hours. So my
wow.
digestive tract is much slower than Dave's.
No,
But
my wife's was like around yours too, Ellen. Like somewhere
Yeah.
like not as long, but like 30 something hours.
And Dave, I feel like you said that your bowl was a lot more blue and mine was way more green.
Yeah.
Like I digested the food coloring to turn it into a green color. So
Yeah. That was a fun challenge.
I wonder if there's an academic research about that and to see, what the data is on that throughout, millions of humans.
They say that it's also to test your malabsorption. So Dave has malabsorption versus I have better absorption because the food is staying in my system longer. So I can absorb the nutrients of what I'm eating.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did a small like gut biome thing, and it's crazy the amount of things that I'm supposed to not eat that like cause my stomach. I mean, it's actually a small list, but like little things that sort of irritate me. But regardless, it's a great challenge. You should definitely check it out. Maybe you could do like a little mini doc, a little featurette.
Just don't do it with Lucky Charms.
Yeah, not Lucky Charms. Or combine the Lucky Charms in the muffin and see what happens.
No, it sounds like you might go to the ER.
Maybe, but it might be good content.
You first, Dave.
turn
You
Yeah,
first.
that's true.
It'll turn everything purple.
Yeah. You're like, oh my God. All right. Well, Troy, thank you so much for being on our show. You were amazing, insightful. Please keep making those films because they're great. And everybody out there, you can find it like all over the place, but just Google Shit Saves the World and you can rent it. You can watch it at your own home if you'd like. It's kind of amazing. It's a great film. It's really funny and it's super informative. And I feel like everybody should be watching this thing. So, and also please tell our audience where they can find you, like plug away, promote what you got to promote and let them know.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And when you watch the film, make sure you watch it with somebody you love. Date night movie. Forget the romantic comedy. Yeah, forget the romantic comedy. Go with the shit film. We Shit Saves the World. You can check us out Instagram. I'm starting to do TikTok, which I'm not good at because I'm old, but I'm getting there. YouTube, wherever. shitsavestheworld.com, and that you can pretty much click on anything there and find us.
Excellent. Well, do like the man says. Go out there, check it out, support the film, and you won't be disappointed. And thank you all for laughing and learning everything but with us.
And happy pooping, everybody, and enjoy
For more info,
your
go to
butthole.
heypoopypodcast.com or email us at heypoopypodcast@gmail.com. You can send in show ideas, guest requests. Check us out on Twitter at heypoopy, Instagram at heypoopypodcast, TikTok, heypoopypodcast, and our awesome new Facebook fan page. Go check it out at heypoopypodcast. We're also on Discord at heypoopydumps, or you can contact us at our new awesome hotline, 203-998-5579.
Hey Poopy Podcast is brought to you by Perfect for Entertainment. Produced by Dave and Ellen. Edited by Dave. Executive producer Stormy Leather. Theme song by Jordan Perlson. Hey Poopy!